This is what I did earlier when Socrates joined the call.
Yeah, that kind of like shocked me. I wasn't expecting that. But
yeah. That's very good from Robert. That's
I broke my lamp in the setup.
That's good.
It's falling to pieces. Oh, there we go.
It is, yeah.
Look,
it's falling apart. Yes. Everything is falling apart, Robert.
I'm the only one holding it all together.
I feel so deceived right now.
Well, I mean, is this the intro, or are you going to continue?
Yeah. Go on, Socrates.
I say
intro it for you.
Deceit is good to a certain extent, and mainly I think deceit is useful when you have a career in law, politics, economics, or something like that. That's the best use of deceit. But I personally know, like between friends or family, or whatever, deceit is not good. Typically, that's what I believe.
There was a Japanese saying, and I can't remember what it was, and I can't look it up because my phone is also my camera.
There was a Japanese saying, and I don't know what it is, and I have no way of knowing what it is.
No, I mean I can't look up the Japanese to double check. But my there like the guy who's like there was this guy who gave me a bit of a Japanese lesson lately in preparation for the whole exchange thing. Different story. Anyway, but the quote was in English, the English version, went something like, even deceit is sometimes a good thing. And that sounds really underwhelming now, but I can't. Yeah. I feel like I need to look up this quote to prove it's a thing, but I don't know what it is. So this whole Talkology soliloquy has been completely pointless. And I'm going to hand it back over to you.
Robert, our podcast, we need to improve the podcast. This needs to be the best podcast ever because we've got competition now, Robert.
That's true, we do.
Have you heard of the famous Finn and Ed's Talk Time Today show? Oh my God. I wonder where they got
inspo for the name, you know.
Okay, right, Robert. Just because they use the word talk, just because they need to look out. They need to watch out because they may be saying things, but are they really talking?
Exactly. I need to look more threatening. I don't know how I can do that.
You're on a bed. I don't know how threatening you can get when you're on a bed.
Shut up. I'm very threatening.
All jokes though. Finn and Ed are great people, and their podcast is gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be the second greatest podcast on YouTube.
It's gonna be the second greatest podcast on YouTube. That's absolutely true. Go check it out after you've watched this video.
Yeah. Am I able to subscribe to them, or am I like locked into Talkology and that's it?
No. Subscribe to them. I'm subscribed to them. The Talkology channel is subscribed to them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Robert, I think I found your Japanese quote, but like there's 3 of them, and they're not good for deceit. Like they don't think deceit's good. One is the road to hell is paved with lies. Lying is also a means to an end. Okay, so that's
that one. I think it was that one.
That could be good. And then deceiving a deceiver is not deceit. So that's also another good one. So, yeah, it's just like
the road to hell is paved with lies. Is that an old? That's an old Japanese quote.
Yeah,
because I've heard it before, but I never knew like where it came from or anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna butcher the say like how you say it, but it's like Uso o Iba Jigoku Iku. Like I don't know if Robert can understand that at all, but like that's that one. The road to hell is paved with lies. So that seems a bit, you know.
Yeah, it was the second one you read out that was mentioned in the lesson. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, like lying is also a means to an end. It means like while not directly advocating malicious deceit, it refers to using white lies, often in the context of social facade to maintain harmony. So it's.
I know the first two words in Japanese were uso, which means lying or to lie, and mo, which means also. I'm not sure what the rest is.
Yeah. So I mean, it
Mhm.
it seems that there's very two opposing sides to the argument. Hell, or it could be a good thing for social contexts, but I don't know. I think you it's not a definite answer for me. Like no human being is capable of just telling the truth all the time or lying all the time. It's just you have to have somewhere in between. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, sure, but we can sort of draw lines in specific kind of like scenarios. I think,
yeah,
like you can't come up necessarily with one kind of moral standing or way of life that explains every situation, but you can say, in this particular scenario, like the trolley problem, I know I would do this thing. I would pull the lever. That's what I would do in that one situation, even if you can't generalize all of your ideas to everything.
yeah.
And hopefully we can uh, lock in on some of those smaller scenarios today.
I mean,
I've just thought of kind of an interesting question because Socrates, you said that it's impossible to go your whole life without lying. But then I just thought, in psychology, do you guys know the case of Jeannie? The kids who like they had some trauma or something, and they weren't like taught to speak or something, and they were like kind of referred to as like this wild child.
oh yeah,
And yeah.
I think I know.
Did they ever lie, or did they only tell the truth? Do you think?
well, I
Do you
mean,
think that counts? I don't know where I was going with that.
as a case from the case study, as a kid, probably not, because the concept of lying probably never crossed their mind since they were like intellectually deficient and they didn't have like a proper upraising like a normal human person would. But we don't know what happened to them later on in life. Obviously, I think they're an adult and they're in like a care home or whatever. I can't remember exactly what happened to them, but they're an adult and they matured and like grew more intelligent over time. So I think they'd be more capable of lying nowadays than how they would have in the past because they were like a wild animal, like as you said.
Well, there, Socrates. It's interesting that you compare them to a wild animal. While we're talking about deception, because the thing is, you actually see deception happening a lot in nature, in wild animals. I can't think of a particular example in mind, but I know there have been studies on this, and it's absolutely true that certain animals will sort of deceive each other, even though they haven't necessarily learned it or thought about it in the same way that humans do. I think the only reason that particular person probably hadn't lied is because they didn't have much interaction with any other people. It was quite a sad. It's a very unfortunate thing that happened to that person. But they didn't have that many social interactions, and so they probably didn't get much of a chance to lie to anyone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, with the lying part, could you say like one thing that crossed my mind was like a Venus flytrap. You know how they look harmless, and then a fly goes in and it kills it. That's kind of like a white lie. I don't know if that counts. It's like it's pretending to be harmless and innocent. As soon as something goes in and it kills it, it's like it kind of told the lie that it was an innocent plant. I don't know. That was like one example that just crossed my mind. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I think that might be the best example that we come up with, because I haven't particularly looked into animal deception loads, but I've just sort of heard about it. But it's like, they do experiments where they get animals to like push buttons that are signaling for things. So like they'll push a food button or something like that. I think there was a scenario where an animal like killed something. It was like they killed a mouse or something, and they tried to blame it on something else. Yeah, it's really evading my mind, but I can. It was something to do with they did something and they kind of tried to argue that something else did it. And that's all I can remember from that, unfortunately. But yeah, so deception definitely is a thing that happens in animals, and it's not just a human thing. So I think there definitely could be some kind of instinctual ability to deceive. Yeah.
Yeah. Robert, did that answer your question?
What question?
The question about the wild kid, whatever they're called by their name.
I don't remember what my question was.
Oh, so we were talking about would it be possible?
Very interesting, though. I just don't remember asking a specific question.
So the question was, it came from Socrates saying that it wouldn't be possible for a human to live their whole life.
Right.
Either lying all the time or always telling the truth. And then you were suggesting that it was possible that this person, this case study, they never lied. And I think even though it's possible that they never lied, I don't think it's because they didn't know how to or didn't understand how to. I think it's a case of opportunity, if that makes sense.
Lying is kind of interesting because it's kind of what you're trying to do is you're trying to get what the thing that you want in a way that it's very like individualistic, and in some ways it could be argued that if it is natural for some animals to lie, it would therefore be going against nature not to lie, or that it would be beneficial to society. So what I guess I don't what a question that like kind of thought about like in relation to that could be that are the things that we want actually just biases and we can just do whatever we want unattached to that? Or should we instead look for what we want inherently because it's natural to do so? I don't know if that question made any sense. It was kind of weird to put into words. But
I have a point.
I'm a philosophologist now, so there you go.
I think that wanting something is very different from needing something. And in nature, animals and stuff, they don't typically want. Like, although they have, like, there's that case study with, like, the rhesus monkeys or whatever, like Harlow's study, and they wanted comfort over food, so they would spend more time with, like, the cloth mother and the wire mother. That's more so, it's like, needing is more important than wanting in nature, because, like, animals and stuff like that, or my example with the Venus flytrap, they need to eat. So they don't want.
Is needing not just a stronger version of wanting?
No, but it's like
it's part of the same category.
It's like I want a car or something. I want to buy a car. That I don't need that for my survival. Whereas if I said I want to buy food, I also need to buy food, because if I don't buy food, then I die because I can't eat it. So it's like that needing is a stronger version of wanting. But in nature, you don't get just want. It's not about, oh, I want something. It's you need something. And so when it's like in society, people lie to get stuff what they want, that's true, but going against that in society and going like, oh, if you don't lie, you're going against the natural order of things, then that's like, that's I don't believe that's correct, in my opinion, because it's not needing to lie. You don't need to lie all the time. You want to lie all the time, or you want to lie in a particular situation because it brings about a benefit to you, like getting a car or whatever. You lie to get a car because you wanted it, not because you needed it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like what we're doing is really begging the question of should we do or want things because that's the natural order of what happens. Should we be listening to natural sort of instincts and what feels right, or should we ignore that maybe for the betterment of society?
Can we ignore that? And is it a good idea?
I think we definitely can ignore it. Maybe not completely. Like maybe it will always be there, but we can definitely suppress it.
Yeah, I mean,
but is suppression healthy?
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it depends on the instinct, because a lot of instincts we don't rely on because they just don't apply to modern day. Like instincts that would have helped tribes with hunting, millennia ago, aren't really going to help us today while we're sat in our rooms filming the Talkology podcast. It just so happens that society has moved on and we don't really need these things. So whether we suppress it or not, it's not particularly helpful to us.
Yeah. I mean, society and nature are two opposing things, I believe, where it's like nature is the raw form of what humanity could be, and society's built off of that to become more refined. And since nature gave us the ability to hunt animals or whatever, and now we don't particularly need that as we are now, society has differed very far, it's very polarized to what nature's supposed to be. But I believe that's a good thing. Society should not be nature. I don't think, I'm not an anarchist, for example. An anarchist would believe in nature over society because it believes society's fundamentally flawed with lies, deceit, power hungry, whatever. But it's it
sounds a bit more like extreme romanticism. What was it? William Blake. Oh no, not that. I think it was William Blake. There was this poem that we had to learn about a while back. About
was it Wordsworth?
There was 2 parts to it. There were a chimney sweeper in the first part, and it was sad.
Oh.
And then the second part, they roamed free.
That's not what I was thinking about. No. I was thinking about the prelude.
Yeah, same. It was the boat.
That was Wordsworth. Might have been Wordsworth, but no, yeah, that kind of extremist romanticism that we need to burn down the town and get rid of all the get rid of London basically, and just live in the fields with happy sheep and sun with a smile on it.
That's anarchism. That is anarchism. What that you just described, basically, burning down the city, whatever. The blackening. Well, what's the quote of the church? It was the blackening walls of the church or something. I can't remember. It was and the palace stained in blood red, whatever. I can't remember the quotes exactly, but it's something like that. And it's we need to get rid of those. We need to go back to the fields and whatever and live in the forests and scavenge and stuff. That's anarchism. That is literally just anarchism. Because it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, because it's without a state. There is no state.
No, the difference is that the difference is that you were saying about how it was getting rid of lies and deception. Anarchism doesn't inherently get rid of any of that, or any of the world that we've built. It just gets rid of a societal structure and allows people to be free to do what they want. but it doesn't like mean we all return to the countryside and we just like start chilling in the forest. That's like that's more of romanticism,
Oh my
where
God.
we reject like
Living
all
in
of
the
these
nether,
new cortical values and like get rid of we stop lying and we return to nature and stop like building stuff, because I think romanticism is more about a return to nature. Anarchism is more about just letting people do whatever they want, which doesn't inherently like dispute against lying and deception as unethical. It basically, I think it's basically is like that there would just be no rules and things would be decided by, I guess, whoever had more power, but no one has. I don't know how that would work. I'm not an anarchist.
Well, I
don't know how it works, but I think it's slightly different.
When you said about like it's anarchism's return to roots. Like it is purely just we go back to what nature is and stuff, right? Because it's like we can't be controlled. We don't want anarchists don't want people to be controlled. They don't want to be controlled. So they go back to roots on how nature was before society was like created and stuff, based off of power structures and hierarchical things. But I could criticize anarchism because anarchism, they want to have a system where there's no power, meaning that no one can exploit that power with lies and deceit. So they want to get rid of lies and deceit through power and stuff. But if we return to nature,
still lie.
Yeah, if we return to nature, it's an inbuilt human thing to lie, because why wouldn't you want to get something that would benefit you if it offered no cost? Like if I could lie to you right now to get a chocolate bar or something, I don't know, like a chocolate bar.
You wouldn't.
If I were going to lie to you somehow to get a chocolate bar, like I haven't had a chocolate bar today, even though I ate one an hour ago, you didn't know that, and you gave me a chocolate bar, I get the benefit of having a chocolate bar, and I have no risk or little risk of you knowing that I ever ate a chocolate bar beforehand. So why wouldn't I lie? Like, why? It's an inbuilt human thing to lie. It's natural. If we anarchists want to go back to nature and go like, oh, we don't have a society, don't have a societal structure of power and stuff, we're still going to go back to some form of lying. It's just a little bit different. It's not for power. It's for your just like own personal pleasure or whatever. So.
Well, like in an anarchy, you'd be able to do that because you'd just say, "Give me a chocolate bar," and I'll be like, "Okay, I'll give you one." But in romanticism, there wouldn't like be a chocolate bar, and you probably wouldn't have the ability to ask that question based on we only have this knowledge from all of our like talking to people and advancement as a civilization overall. But if we didn't have that, then lying might be less of a concept, and there might not even be like the concept of an exchange, because we would be moving from everything we built up, all the intellectual stuff we've as a society built and maintained, to kind of a lack of clarity, because everything would just be kind of reduced back down to nature, I guess.
I mean, with the chocolate bar in an anarchist society, right? You said, "Give me the chocolate bar," and I'll go, "Okay, I'll give you the chocolate bar." And then you said the romanticism would be like there would be no chocolate bar, right? In an anarchist society, do you really think a chocolate bar would exist as well? Because no one's going to be running a company to make the chocolate bars. There is not going to be like Cadbury or whatever around to make the chocolate bars, so there won't be a chocolate bar. There won't be anything made in an anarchist society unless like one guy decided to create a whole corporation and sell things abroad on his own, because in an anarchist society it's just one person at the end of the day. Like, what, only you matter in an anarchist society, no one else does. So
it depends if it's an anarcho-capitalist or anarcho-communist society.
That's just against, no, that's like putting two things up completely opposite to each other in things.
You should have a conversation with Theo.
What, is he an anarchist?
He's anarcho-communist, but he left the school. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I can give you his number.
Anarcho-communist makes a little bit more sense, but typically with communism it ends up becoming a dictatorship, and that is a fundamental part of communism anyways, is to become a dictatorship eventually. So it's like, it's still very polar opposite. Anarcho-capitalism is just like complete, like there's no way you can rationalize that in my belief. Like, oh, anarcho-capitalism, that makes sense. No, it doesn't to me. Anarcho-communism makes a bit more sense, but still communism ends up in dictatorship, literally structurally. Like in the theory, Karl Marx says we need to get rid of the state by becoming the state and turning into like a dictatorship to get rid of power, and then get rid of our own power and then become a purely collectivist state. So,
and then just put one guy in power. What could possibly go wrong?
That's the thing with a communist state, when it's like we need to take over the state and become a dictatorship. That's when they put the one person in, and that one person's responsibility in communism is to ensure that all power's gone, right? But it never ends up like that, because the natural human instinct of lying and selfishness is the result of a dictator like Stalin or Xi Jinping and whatever. Like, you've got the communist leaders who keep the power to themselves because they don't want to let go, and that's a human part. That's just human. If you had all the power in the world, why would you want to let go of that? Or the country, for example, like if you had all the power of Russia, why would you want to let go of that for your common humanity? You know, that's the thing. Common humanity. That's also a thing that communists believe in, where everyone's just inherently a good person and we just want the best for everyone else and ourselves. But it's opposed by our human nature to also lie and be selfish. So it's like, no human's perfect. No human's perfect at all.
Communism without a human in power is only just now becoming possible, because you could technically have a technocracy.
I mean, the technocracy is not what you think. I mean, technocracy is an actual thing in politics already. Yeah, it's already a thing. And technocracy is about, we get rid of ideology and have leaders and stuff who are specialists, and they make decisions for the country.
Oh, I'm just an idiot. Okay, no, I meant like,
it's not technology.
I meant we put like big bad robot man in charge of a country, and like, and he goes like, beep boop, you get wheat, you get sticks, beep boop, I am king.
Yeah, I mean,
it would be fun to see how that turned out, but I don't think it's an experiment that can be morally done.
Yeah,
ethically done.
Yeah, I mean, you've got like.
Wait, yeah. I'll be right back. I've got to go for like 1 minute.
Oh, hold you to that. Hold on, let me time that. 1 minute, okay.
We'll continue to talk anyway. I mean, technocracy is that like because there have famously been quite a few philosophers who went, basically philosophers, scientists, those sort of people, they should have all the power, and then the people with the next level of power is like the military, and then the people with the next level of power is just civilians. And that was, who was that? That was Socrates who put that forward, actually. So good job, Socrates.
Yeah.
I don't know, like it is kind of a form of totalitarianism, because it keeps a certain group of people at the top the whole time. But I don't think it sounds like the worst society, to be honest. Do you have thoughts on that?
I think that with the technocracy, we already have a form of it in our society in the UK. Oh no, I just doxed ourselves. We're in the UK. But I think, yeah, they're going to find out. They're going to find us somehow. I think we already have a technocracy a bit in the UK, where we have our MPs who aren't. It's not technocratic with MPs, because MPs are representatives of the public, and they're elected, not selected, and they represent us regular civilians and stuff like that. So it's like but they're not specialists. Like, some of them own businesses and stuff, but it's like they're not fit to like manage the economy or whatever. That's why in the cabinet, do you know what the cabinet is?
Not particularly.
So in Parliament, you've got the House of Commons, right, where all the MPs are.
Yeah.
Then a half of the House of Commons are the government, which is like the Labour Party right now. Then you've got 10 members, I think it's 10 or somewhere near 10 members of the Labour Party, so 10 MPs who are part of the cabinet, which is like the government, like David Lammy or Keir Starmer or someone else, like someone really high up in Labour. They are ministers, right? The ministers have people in their departments, like the Department of Education, let's say. They have people who work under them called civil servants, and then the civil servants work to implement what the ministers want in their area. So, like, if the education minister wanted, I want more schools, the civil servants go and make more schools. But you've got specialists under the civil servants who give advice to the civil servants to say, if you build this many schools, it would be good for education because of this, it would be bad for education because of this. And here's the statistics that we've collected. So you do have those professionals, but they're not in a form of power, they just give advice to the people in power. You've got the House of Lords, which is more technocratic, I'd say, because the House of Lords isn't elected, it's selected by the Prime Minister, and they typically have specialist knowledge on health, education, whatever. That's why one of the bills that were trying to be passed, called the Assisted Dying Bill, if you know of that one. The assisted dying bill was being countered by the House of Lords constantly because people in the House of Lords were denying it, saying there's not enough safeguards. You're going to start killing people with this law unjustly, so you need to make sure that there's safeguards put in place. But the MPs didn't know what kind of safeguards to put, so then they end up with an argument and they can't find out whether to pass the assisted dying bill or not, which they're not going to.
I see.
They're not going to, but yeah.
Right.
So
assisted dying is a topic for another episode, maybe. But yeah, so I mean, you didn't really express an opinion. Do you think technocratic societies? Do you think it has potential? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's inherently awful?
I think if I were to rate
you're probably more informed than me.
If I were to rate it on a scale out of 10, and 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, I'd rate it a 7. So it's
what's a 10?
10's the best. It's the best form of society we should have.
What's an example of society that's a 10? Is what Robert's asking.
Oh, so what is the 10? I'd argue a red Tory state. Obviously, that's political. I don't want to get into politics on this YouTube channel like we did for that one episode, which is illegal. Can't do that.
Okay, yeah.
But that's my perfect society with that. That's how I'd like it to be run. But obviously, that's just my opinion, and someone could prove me wrong by running a society in a liberal way or a communist way or a dictatorship. Someone could prove me wrong either way, but I think that's my 10. 9. I don't believe there is a 10. A perfect, like we discussed last episode.
No, I was about to say that. Yeah.
Like how we discussed
someone will always disagree.
Yeah. Like religion, for example, and stuff. Like in the last episode, we talked about perfect, like perfection. And it was like, no one can ever reach perfect, because what is perfect? You can't get a perfect political system because it's never been done before. You've got nothing to compare it to. It's like what's it called in maths again? Like an asymptote or whatever. It's where you can't get close enough to the x-axis. It's like that. You can never get there.
It gets close but never reaches it.
Yeah, and that's perfect. Perfect is that, like, the lines, the x-axis and the y-axis, that's perfect, but you can never get there. It's just a human-made concept. So it's like, I don't believe there is a 10 out of 10 politics thing. I'd say Red Toryism's close, it's 9 out of 10, but it's not perfect. You can always be better. That's what I believe. I mean,
Yeah.
technocratic society
No,
being
fair
quite
enough.
high is good. I believe a technocratic society is logical, because if you have people in power who don't know what they're doing at all, then you're going to get a society where it's just not functional. People who don't know how to run the economy, running the economy, making it worse. Obviously, then you're going to get problems in the country. So, technocracy is needed.
This is really funny to just be a little bit self-aware for a second and notice that we've naturally gone from the topic of deception to politics and society. That's
Straight to politics immediately.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, shall we circle back away from politics before it gets more political?
Yeah. Let's circle back, but I'll do a smooth transition. We'll stay with politics a little bit. It was
I missed what
Machiavelli.
technocracy was, by the way.
Really bad press. Sorry.
I missed what a technocracy was.
Well, we're moving on anyway, so
Okay.
it's fine. It's fine. You can watch the video to find out, Robert.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was Machiavelli. He wrote a book, I think, called like The Prince,
Yes.
and it was the whole point of the book was just expressing his view that when you're in a position of power, the ends justify the means, and he would absolutely say that for like a king or a queen or anyone in power, deception is okay. Well, yeah, what do you think about that? For the sake of keeping power, is it okay? Is deception okay?
Robert, do you want to comment on that? Or are you confused? Is something confusing about that question?
I mean, it is a bit strange. I think maybe Machiavelli was just a strange man. I guess it would be in human nature to use lying to conserve power, but there's also no ethical justification anywhere in that. Like, we don't know what kind of power, what this guy's doing with his power or anything. We just know that he's using lying to maintain power. Like, for all we know, he could be like running the slave trade. Like, there's like no. How would we justify it as being ethical? It doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
okay. So let's say just for the sake of argument, because this could never happen. Let's say this leader we're talking about who's using their deception. They use it to stop other leaders from taking over their rule. And the way they run society is like the perfect, like the best it can get. It's the best society they can get. And I know that's not realistic.
The theoretical Socrates 10 on the Socrometer.
yeah.
The theoretical Socrates 10 society is ran by this person, and if any other leader takes over, it's going to be worse. So, is it okay that that leader maybe deceives the other leaders or the people to keep themselves in power for the sake of maintaining the best society, even if those people wouldn't necessarily vote for that person or they wouldn't allow that person to be in power? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that guy's based. You should let him do that. Yeah.
I mean, I think
it's morally justified in pretty much everywhere I can think of.
I think, though, if it's a perfect society, obviously I know it's a theoretical example like you gave, but it's like it kind of contradicts itself, because it's like, why would you have people who are trying to go against the perfect society because surely they like it as well because it is perfect?
Well, no, they wouldn't believe it is.
I don't want to get too political. But I would like to point out how many people are satisfied with the political state of America right now, despite how voting has happened in that country and how elections go in that country. I'd just like to say people do not always vote for the best society. Sometimes people vote in favor of benefiting themselves over like a total benefit. But I don't really want to go too far into that because I don't love discussing politics on the podcast.
I mean, you could have like a perfect society that like violates like some law or teaching from the Bible, and then all the Christians would be mad, even if it was the perfect society. That doesn't mean there's a perfect way of proving it.
That's the best society, not the perfect. I think that the concept of being a perfect society is impossible to reach because of the fact it would appeal to absolutely everyone, despite their individual differences. So it's like you wouldn't have.
Okay, then we're not going to talk about a perfect society. Then they're running the best society. They're running the best society.
With that, I'd argue it's best for that person to lie to keep power because it's statistically, like, it's factually correct that they're running society the best way possible, that no one else can run it the same way. So it is imperative that this person continues to maintain power. But I'd only argue against it a little bit to say this person needs to educate others in order for them to have the same amount of knowledge when they're in power to do the same thing this guy's doing. So it's like, then it's not a dictatorship because you've got people who are of similar mind of this person also in power. So then it's not a dictatorship, and then that's really close to perfect, I believe. That's really close to theoretical perfect.
But here's the question. Surely a lot of leaders who believe they are good leaders, they will think, surely I'm running my society in the best way that I can do it. I'm bringing these people the best society possible. And maybe leaders don't think this. And I'm sure there are leaders that don't think this. But for a leader that thinks that they are running society in the best way possible, to them, they're going to think, oh yeah, absolutely, the ends justify the means, even though they're not objectively running the best society.
I think thinking...
And so I think the problem comes with the uncertainty of that person, whether they can run the best society. And for that reason, the deception can't be sort of morally justifiable because they don't know for certain that they're running the best society.
Yeah. I mean, thinking and believing is very different to knowing. So it's like, if they think, if they believe they're running the best society as they possibly can, then that's irrelevant. Because it's like, are they actually doing the best they can? Actually look at the statistics, the factual information. How many people are unemployed? How many people are poor? How many people are starving? Stuff like that. It's like, that's the kind of evidence that you need to determine if they're doing the best they can or not. It doesn't matter what they believe. It doesn't matter what they think as an individual. The way you could counter that as well is if, like I said, you have a group of people who are of similar mindset where they're like, we can all scrutinize each other and go, you're not doing the best you can be better if you implement this. And then they use the facts and knowledge and whatever they have to become better and then do the best they can. You can't... Just thinking something doesn't mean it's true,
So the problem is with this group of similar-minded people, this is still like a totalitarian state, isn't it? Even though it's not a dictatorship, because you have one group of people deciding these things, and we have to rely on this one group of people to not be corrupt and all agree with each other every time and want the best for everyone and not just themselves, which is not probably the best idea to trust a group of people with this. Yeah.
I mean, you do have the education system, which when I said about you teach others about it, you can have a group of people who are of similar mindset and actually are like they've got the character to be a leader or whatever. They have the confidence and stuff. But I mean, like, you can educate the whole country to be of that similar mindset. So it's like then everyone's in it together. No one's opposing it. you've got these leaders who are like in your theoretical thing. You've got these leaders who are trying to get in power. So this perfect leader has to like lie to stay in power. But it's like if you educate the public and say this is what we're doing, this is really good. You guys should vote for me again, and so I can have power, so I can continue this. That actually has happened in the past in actual like history with the UK, for example. Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
She was like, you need to vote for me. I've been voted in 3 times in a row, and I've consistently delivered. I've done the best possible thing I can. You guys need to vote for me. And well, she won 3 elections, so obviously lots of people liked her for what she did. But then you've also got the opposite spectrum where a lot of people didn't like what she did. So it's like what she might have considered the best wasn't the best. So I'm not going to comment on that. But so it's just one example you can give. Like,
and so that's why leaders probably shouldn't be. They shouldn't act in a different way regarding deception than citizens of that same society should.
Yeah.
They probably shouldn't get many, if any, exceptions about how they can act when it comes to deceiving people, because whatever they believe, whatever they think they know, the chances are it's swayed by what they want to hear. Confirmation bias, they always are going to think they're the best or going to want to be the best. And for that reason, the ends are always going to justify the means for them, but not so much. If every leader thinks that way, then you're not likely to end up with the best leader, because they're all deceiving each other all the time and arguing, and bad things are happening.
Yeah.
Robert, you seem to really disagree your...
I don't. No, I don't disagree. I was just thinking there was. Do I seem to disagree? No. What I was gonna. I was just. There was a question that I kind of thought of, and it's completely off topic from lying. But anyway,
Yeah.
earlier when Socrates, like a few talking points back, when Socrates was saying about how the leaders could know if they were running like a good society, like the best society or perfect society, whatever you want to call it, I don't really care. They would know by like data, like how many people are starving. But the question is, right, would 0 people starving actually be the perfect society, or would it not? Because I know this is a weird question, but hear me out. There was this study they conducted on some lab rats, right, on these rats. And what they did was they granted every single one of the like desires they could think of that the rats could have. So they provided like the perfect amount of like, I don't know, cheese, like food and drink and all of that sort of thing. And the rats, after a while, they kind of stopped wanting stuff. And you would think that after that, maybe they would be happy. Maybe they would be like depressed and not want anything and just stop doing stuff. What actually happened in the study was the rats ran out of things to do, and I think they ate each other. Mm. So if we like fulfilled everyone's, if we had no people suffering, no people starving, would that actually make the society perfect? Or would it then lead on to a disaster that caused a much worse society?
That's really good actually, because it ties into like nature, because it's rats, so they're not as intelligent as humans. They are pure. That's just pure nature, basically, in action. I believe that humans are of very similar mind in that way. Like if we have everything that we could possibly want, we want more. Like we want more than what we already have, and if everything we have is like the best possible thing, we take that for granted and start, like as the rats were doing, killing each other to get something more out of it. But that's the thing. It's like we should learn, we should educate people. Let's say in this society, people should be educated not to take it for granted what they have. So that way they'll be like, oh, in history they didn't have this, there was tons of people starving, but look at your society now, none of you starve. And they'll be like, oh, that's actually really good, that's pretty good, why would we go against this, that kind of thing. So you educate them on that, because rats can't be educated in that same way. They're not as intelligent as us. And then you've got,
if you don't feel, but if you have everything that you want, and even if someone was like telling you, oh, it's way better than what it used to be like, you might not feel satisfied even then, because you're basically being told that you have everything you want. It sounds a bit 1984 to me.
yeah. I mean, here's the thing though, it's like in this best
Like they could just lie, like an Animal Farm.
You're thinking of the concept of a best society from what you could possibly see now. So like the best society from your perspective is based off of your experiences that you've had living in a society that's not the best or not perfect society, right? But it's like when you get to that point of the best society from your perspective now, and in the future it's like the best possible thing you can imagine it being now, they'll be like, okay, how can we make it even better? It's literally, scientists and stuff, people at NASA, wherever, like, these people are like, this is the reason why we haven't been able to reach any planet we want to. Because we're so fixated on what we have now and what is possible now and not what's possible in the future. We should be focusing on making the best society here as possible from our perspective, and then going to Mars and Jupiter, wherever, like Saturn, any planet we want to, because then our theoretical best will be even greater than it is that we can see now, where we can do that and go elsewhere in the solar system, maybe even the galaxy, maybe even like the whole universe. But as humans, we're limiting ourselves to just, oh, it's Earth, we need to make the best society here, this is the best we can do, and then when we hit that point we'll kill each other and stuff. It's like, no, why does there have to be a point where we kill each other? Why can't we just go beyond that and keep going and shoot for the stars and whatever? That's like scientist argument. But
wait, hang on, I thought of a way to tie it back to lying. You said about like educating people about, I keep thinking of these ideas like early on when you're talking, so it's not like I'm not listening to the rest of what you're saying. I am, but like when you were saying about educating people on, like, they didn't used to have this, now they do, you should appreciate it more and be more like grateful. You could compare that to what they did at Animal Farm, except rather than educating, it was instead deception, because they said that things were getting better when they were actually getting worse. Would that lying be justified if it made the animals content instead of them realizing that it was lying? If it made the animals think that they already had everything that they wanted, would that be a positive version of lying? And would a perfect society require that element of lying to convince people that they were having a good life so that they could then have one? Or would that lying be immoral because you're making someone do something else? You're being controlling.
So you're
against the anarchist societies that we were talking about.
You're basically like saying ignorance is bliss, basically, because it's like they don't know of the past like exactly as it was. They just believe that, they're just told it was better and it's better now than it was back then, and they're like, oh, okay. And they're ignorant to actually the facts. Is it actually better or is it not? So it's like, do you think ignorance is bliss, or do you think ignorance is something bad? I believe ignorant is something bad. Like, being ignorant is bad. If I were to say, like, Sam Chaney over there, right? He's ignorant. What do you think? That's a good thing for me to say that to him, or is that an insult? I don't know.
That's semantics, and it's not really related.
I call it an insult. Being ignorant is bad. Ignorance is bliss, but it's bad, because being ignorant is being like you disassociate from the reality of things, and that's not how we're supposed to progress. That's not how humans progress. You need to be in reality. You need to be focused on the task at hand, which is advancing humanity. And if you get distracted with ignorance and stuff, and you're blissful in that ignorance, then you're just lying to yourselves, and that doesn't improve anyone's lives.
So, this has just. I actually had this conversation with a friend recently, and I think the core question here is it's about giving people the decision of would they rather know things and be miserable, or not know the truth and sort of be content, have the security of happiness. Because people who are ignorant, they don't know they're ignorant, otherwise that's not truly what they are. So it's like in the Matrix, it's like the red pill and the blue pill, and it's like, do you want to know the truth, or do you just want to live in your happy, content state? And I think the problem is it varies too much from person to person to be able to make one of those decisions for everyone. Yeah. So to lie to everyone and keep them all ignorant would be immoral, because you're taking away their choice, I think.
And there's this thing I watched, like a TV show, where there was this villain, right? If you could call him a villain, because if you believe that lying is a good thing to people, then you'd call him a hero. But he was like, I need to make people. It was a weird thing where it was like, I'm going to project my vision of a perfect world onto the moon, and then the moon reflects that vision back onto Earth, and every human gets wrapped up in a cocoon, right? And in that cocoon, they dream of their perfect world, but it's all in.
Dude, what were you watching?
It's an anime. Don't worry about it. It's a very famous one. It's a very famous one. Very famous one. I think.
What was it called?
Naruto.
Why do you think? What's sorry?
Naruto.
Bowel Zone.
Naruto. I don't know what you're talking about.
Naruto.
Yes.
Right. Naruto.
Yes, there's a villain in there called Madara who has like a vision where it's like, I'm going to preserve everyone in their cocoons, and when they're in their cocoons, they dream of their perfect reality. And it works. He does do that. But then two people resist that and go against him, kind of like in the Matrix, and defeat him. And everyone's freed from that cocoon, and then some factions form, I think, afterwards. So it's like, he was right, we should have stayed in those cocoons. And most people were like, no, we shouldn't have been, because he was evil. But it's like, I believe that lying is not good. It's not good at all, because if you know the truth and you're miserable because you know the truth, why don't you go and make it better then? Why does that stop you from going like, oh, well, I'm miserable, I'm going to give up. I know the truth now, I'm just going to give up and accept that. You can accept it, but keep going and try and make it better. Why do you have to stop?
Well, some things
all three of us tried to talk at the same time just now.
Some things can't be made better, I think, is the kind of the problem with that. Some things are just out of your control. And there are, worldviews, like I think famously Stoicism was all about not worrying about things that are out of your control. But yeah, I mean, like in the Matrix, there's the whole thing with all the machines controlling the humans, and it's like, well, could the humans really? Would they be able to take down the machines? I don't know if they do. I can't remember the films that well. The first one was the only good one.
Yeah, I only watched the first one. I don't know.
Could they take down the machines? Probably not. And I think in the case where the outside world is objectively sort of like an unwinnable situation, I think I personally would rather live in the ignorance, I think the fact that
like in the TV show, like I mentioned, they fight against this force, this person, this villain. It's very, very powerful and can like defeat most people with a swipe of their right hand. But it's like they keep
Like me.
fighting. Yeah, like Robert. They keep fighting because what they believe in. Yeah. Oh yeah. Wait. Who was he? What was he? He was omnipotent. Oh.
I don't know. You guys were omniscient and omnipotent, but I don't know who was who.
I think
I'd like to think Robert was omniscient.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
But yeah, so I think like these people, like it doesn't matter if I die for this cause, where it's like I'm going to fight you so that people can experience the truth instead of lying in like being lied to and being in a perfect world. It's because the belief is so strong, not because their lives matter more. It's because their beliefs matter more. Where it's like people need to understand the truth, and like you said, where it's like, oh, can you actually make stuff better? Like cancer, for example, cancer. From our knowledge now, it's impossible to cure cancer, right? So it's like, why do we even try to cure cancer? But it's like people do still try to cure cancer, do still try to find cures, because it's like the belief of finding that and stopping people from dying of that is stronger than just time itself. It's like it transcends time. It's a belief that we should not suffer from cancer or whatever. So it's like and I think humanity is strong enough to go against the inevitable. Like it's human spirit is stronger.
Indomitable humans.
Yeah.
Humans.
I was about to say that.
Is stronger than the inevitability. And why should we let inevitability hold us back when we could break that boundary, when we can break that barrier?
Yep.
You know?
With the abominable human spirit.
Yeah, very, very, strong, very patriotic.
What's the word? What's the word, Robert?
No, I know it's indomitable.
Okay. Yeah, Socrates. I think it's lovely to have that belief that the human spirit will overcome those things. But I think there's also a thing there that maybe that belief just comes from a human struggle to conceptualize something that's truly impossible. I don't know in the particular case of cancer or whether that will ever be cured. Probably. I'd like to think with the amount of time the human civilization has left, I think we have a decent amount of time. And within that time, we'll probably be able to cure cancer, but something new will arise. Different types of cancer will still be incurable. I don't think we'll beat all of it. Definitely, there will never be a point in society, I think, where all disease will be cured. I think at some point we'll reach a sort of limitation of human technology, and from there we just won't be able to progress anymore. We've sort of maximized the resources that we have, because humans are finite, ultimately. I was
just thinking. I'm going to put this out there real quick. I don't know what belief this is, but like I'm not someone who believes in the human indomitable spirit or whatever. I'm not that. I'm just saying from that perspective. But also the fact that you said like as humans we can't conceptualize impossibility, so it's like it's impossible to break the barrier of impossibility because as humans we don't know what that is. We can't get there. We can't erase a black hole or something. That's impossible, right? As humans, I can't eat a black hole. It's impossible, right? That's like one impossible thing.
Yeah, but with some scientific advancement, maybe you will.
Yeah, it's like we don't know what perfect is. We can't ever reach perfect, right? You don't know what that perfect is. It's just theoretical. Impossibility is the same thing. It's like, how do you know it's impossible for, like, not even just humans. Like, it might, like, how do you know something's impossible ever? Because it's like people like, oh, it would be impossible for me to communicate with some Australian or something 100 years ago or whatever, or 200 years, 500 years ago. If there was a person in Australia and then there's a person here, and it's like, it would be impossible for me to talk with them from where we are. It's like, yes, that's true, it's impossible, because how could you? Now it's easy. So it's like, who knows what impossible is? Who knows what perfect is? It's just, they're theoretical concepts. So it's like when you say, oh, it's impossible to do something, human spirit can't break impossibility, but it has. It has, though, in the past, and it will do in the future. So it's like, what do we know? What is impossible? What's not?
I think impossible is less sort of conceptual than or less. It's more real than the concept of perfectness. Because I can tell you that it's impossible that 5 minutes ago I had £1 billion in my bank account.
It's not possible. It's just not true.
You're lying.
Possible.
It is impossible, though, isn't it? It is impossible. Because 5 minutes ago I didn't. And because it's not true, it's impossible that happened, because it didn't happen.
Wait.
No, but in an alternate universe, it could have happened.
That's the thing, yeah.
So it's not impossible, because it means it could theoretically.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's impossible that happened in this universe.
Well, I mean, it could have been technically.
Yeah.
If you think, because it's like,
that's what I mean. It could have happened.
Impossible. It's just not
guys,
true.
I love your optimism, and I'm so glad that you guys think that I have £1 billion in my bank account. I love the enthusiasm, but I just don't think that I do.
I mean, what if you wait? How much do you have in your? I'm not going to ask you how much you have in your bank account. That's a bad question. I mean,
okay.
if you had a certain amount, if you had £20 in your account or something, let's say,
yeah.
Somewhere else that counts as $1 billion, like dollars or whatever. I can't remember, like Zimbabwe, and I don't want to pick on Zimbabwe particularly, but there's some countries and stuff where it's like £20 is like billions for them. So technically, you do have £1 billion for their currency. I know you said I don't have £20. I don't have £1 billion in my bank account. So obviously, it's like, oh, you said that particular currency, but it's like, even then, it's not impossible that 5 minutes ago you had £1 billion. It's just not true that you had £1 billion in your bank account 5 minutes ago.
Guys, I have a question.
I think. I don't know. I'm not.
Before you do that, Robert, please keep that in mind. But did we not just discuss perfection and how it's impossible to achieve perfection?
Oh, I see. So now you're saying, wait, is it like it's impossible to reach perfection, but how do we know what impossible is? So then you can reach perfection technically, because it's like, if nothing's impossible, then perfection should be possible. Is that your argument?
Yes.
So it's like it's complex. I'm not a philosopher or anything. You've got me there with that one, but it's like, I don't think that's a question that a human can answer technically. It's like, it's very, very complex, because then it starts going back on in itself, going like, if impossibility is impossible, that must mean perfection is possible. But it's like, I don't believe either is. So.
And that's why I think that something being impossible is real. I think there are some things that can be impossible, like perfection. But I mean, maybe you don't want to. Maybe perfection isn't the best example. It's having an infinite amount of something. That's probably impossible. Maybe if you take the example of the bank account, it's impossible that I had an infinite amount of money, because nowhere, whatever X amount I have currently in my bank account, that's not worth an infinite amount of money anywhere, no matter how big it goes. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? It's impossible to reach infinity.
Yeah, does it?
That's sort of something we know.
I mean, if you does it?
Can we
count-
lie if it's impossible? Oh, okay. No, it's fine.
Okay.
I'll wait another 20 minutes.
No, Jory, no. It's just gonna be quick. Do you agree with infinity plus one? Do you agree with that?
What do you mean? Do I agree with it?
Do you-
What about it would
do
I
you think
agree
it's
with?
to agree with?
Do you think it's possible for like someone to go the biggest number is infinity, and then someone else goes no, it's infinity plus one? Like, is that actually possible? Do you believe that's a thing?
No, it's kind of just absorbed into infinity. Infinity plus one
Yeah, I think
is
the same.
infinity.
I think the same. But Sam, do you think that? Do you think infinity plus one's bigger than infinity, or is it just absorbed?
No, I think it is, in a sense, bigger than infinity. I think that some infinities are bigger than others. They have different sort of orders of magnitude. Because there's like the situation of think about the countable numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 up until the last one. But for every in between 1 and 2, there's also an infinite amount. So the number of countable numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4 is much smaller than 1.0001 and all the decimals in between. If you include the decimals, it's a much bigger infinity than 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think some infinities can be bigger than others. Infinity plus one, that's kind of impossible, I think, because if you've reached infinity, then there isn't a one to add to it, because infinity is everything.
That's the thing. I agree with you with that. But then that also goes against what I said. I don't believe what I said, but still, it goes against what I said, where it's like impossibility is impossible. But I agree with you saying infinity plus one is impossible. So it's like I contradict myself. But there we go.
Okay. Wow.
Robert's gone to.
I guess I won. I won, gang.
You've won the argument.
Tell us in the comments, did Sam chain you win? No. There's no such thing as winning, but it's fun to go through this sort of line of argument because it, reinforces some things, and maybe after this conversation I'll think more about, is impossible really a thing? Can anything truly be impossible? Yeah. No, I can't imagine a universe where anything is possible.
Can anything truly be true?
Well, yeah.
I think therefore I am. I think therefore I am is the base, the lowest level of truth, the most fundamental truth.
Yeah.
I think therefore I think I am. But you don't know for sure.
Well, I do, because I'm thinking about it. I know that I'm thinking about it because I'm thinking about it.
So
I mean, I guess so.
Isn't it true that you're right in front of me, right? Like, not in front of me right now in person, but you are on camera right now. That is the truth. That is true.
That's true in your perception of reality, but it cannot necessarily.
So I agree with Robert.
True base reality that you're seeing.
The idea of us being in front of each other is not as true as I think, therefore I am. It's because there are assumptions that you have to make that your perception is real.
Wait, but what about the fact that inside your own head you've got chemical imbalances like hormones and stuff? You've got neurons firing with electricity and stuff like that. It's like,
have you?
You don't know that.
Do you know that? Yeah, exactly. Do you actually know that? Have you looked in your head and actually seen that happening? Can you control that happening?
Even if you did, would that be true? Or would that just be...
I didn't claim I had a brain.
Exactly. Yeah.
I didn't claim I had a brain.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, how do you know... How do you know anything at that point? So I think, therefore I am could also be not as true as perfectly true, because it's still your own brain thinking that, because you're thinking that with your brain.
But it may not. It's not a brain. thinking that necessarily.
Yeah.
It's whatever the fundamental truth is. It's something beyond the brain, maybe, or maybe it is a brain.
Of as a mind, because it would have a mind is just inherently something that has the capacity to think.
I mean, well,
kind of, but like a mind is not necessarily independent of a brain. A mind can be created, or like it can be from a brain. Whereas, like, if you think of like the concept of, like, maybe if you think of the concept of a soul that can be independent from a brain, but like it's still a part of you. It's very wishy-washy kind of terms and concepts.
I mean, if we went really, really crazy, like Robert's craziness, if you went really crazy and go, I think, therefore I am. What is I? Who is I? What's the concept of I? Like, am I me? Am I? What's this? What is that? It's because it's like you've just said soul, brain, two different things that people can like believe in, whatever. Like they're things people believe in sometimes. And it's like brain is one part of you, your spirit's one part of you, your soul's a part of you. But it's like, what if there's something more than that? Or what if that doesn't exist at all? What if a brain and a spirit doesn't exist at all? So what is I then?
But I is simply the stream of consciousness. Because if you're perceiving something, then something has to be there to perceive something. Otherwise, you wouldn't be perceiving anything.
Yeah, but it's like, with, I don't know what word I can replace it with, but what if I'm not perceiving anything? What if it's just, like, it's just raw information or whatever? I don't know what terminology I should use for this at all. I have no clue. But it's like, what if I'm not perceiving it? What if this isn't real, and nothing's real? I'm not anything. It's just all fake. And
that's why I think therefore I am works. Because the very fact that you can have this discussion and say, what if I'm not perceiving things? But you kind of objectively are perceiving things because you're able to have this conversation. You're able to think, and the thought you have is an example of perception. And the very fact that perception is happening.
I am is an interesting approach that I didn't really think of. But you also can't technically prove that you had the conversation, because you can't say I think therefore I was, because you could be fake memories. But I forgot.
So there must be something there to have the memories.
Well, I mean,
sorry?
Oh, sorry. Go on.
The memories exist. You're saying there are fake memories, right? But if those fake memories exist, then something exists.
Well, yeah, but they didn't necessarily happen. Like that wasn't necessarily in the past. We wouldn't know.
There's still the concept of existence happening there, and there's still perception happening there.
Well, I've also got...
but I think therefore I wouldn't work, because it would. What you're saying is that I remember, therefore there is a memory there, which is kind of different. It doesn't necessarily imply that thing happened at all or was in the past.
But so for you to have a memory, you have to currently exist to think about the past. So something must be existing in the present.
We don't know that there was a past. We just know the past.
And I'm not claiming that
that's just proving that you're there in the present moment. It's not proving that you were there in that past.
You are proving that you're there in the present moment, which is all I'm trying to prove. I think, therefore,
I already agreed with you. I thought you were trying to say something else, because when you were saying that you could prove that we had this conversation, I thought that was what you meant. But no, if you wanted to prove we are having this conversation, then I mean, from like a conscious viewpoint, you could, yes.
I mean, I have an argument.
Exactly.
For I think therefore I am. One thing. If I think I'm let's say, I'm an outgoing, very sociable, very friendly, always good person. I think that. Am I that?
No, you are thinking that.
If I think I'm a murderer and I want to kill Robert Marsden over there, I think that I'm filled with so much rage that I want to be a horrible person. Am I that?
Yeah.
Can I change myself? Because I'm not that person. Like, I'm not this person. But if I
No,
suddenly change
but
my
what
way
you're
of thinking
thinking is real, though, because that's what the concept of I would mean. Rather than I think, therefore what I'm thinking is what I am. You're saying I think, therefore I am. If you're thinking is what Sam's saying is if you're thinking, then there is something thinking that. It doesn't really matter what the thought is about at all.
Oh, so it's like the process of thinking it proves that you exist because it's you thinking it. It doesn't matter what the thoughts are, it's irrelevant.
Yes.
So how do you know you're thinking thoughts if you don't know what the thoughts are, or do thoughts are irrelevant? Like, if they don't matter, how do you know?
You don't know what the thoughts are, but you know you're thinking.
So you don't know what they are, but you know that they exist in some format, that you're creating it. So it's like, I must exist because I'm making this thing, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't know for certain what it is because it's your perception. Yeah, but you can know that because you can know that you exist because you are perceiving, and that action can only be done by something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good. Who made that quote again?
René Descartes, I believe, is the first
Shout out to him.
account of it.
Shout out to him.
This has gone in a strange direction. I'm confused.
Cogito ergo sum.
No.
What? Okay, well,
I think we've really deceived the viewers by starting this episode saying we're gonna talk about deception, and now we're talking about the very nature of existence, and being able to know
we
things.
moved from talking about like lying to is lying possible, and then we tried to define if there is a truth, and then that means that, like, I mean, if you're saying anything that's not inherently about you existing, then that means that it is technically lying. So
I've actually been lying
I don't know what
this
to
whole
go
time.
from.
I've been lying this whole time. I'm not Socrates on this Twitter.
Just notice my face isn't on screen.
Yeah, I've been lying the whole time. Oh, actually, no. We've all been lying this whole time because this wasn't recorded by us. We weren't here. We didn't record this episode. AI created it for us. So, yeah.
Right, that's just not true.
We put it
okay, viewers, that's not true.
Sora.
But is that true?
Viewers,
We proved that's not
by
true.
AI.
I think.
Viewers,
would it be lying to say that we can prove that that's false?
They say give the recipe for a cupcake. Guys, I don't know the recipe for a cupcake. That's the AI test that they do in like interviews and stuff. When they do online interviews, they say if they suspect the person who's being interviewed is AI, they go, can you give me the recipe for a cupcake? And if they're AI, they always do it, which I think is really funny. But yeah, we're not AI. I don't know the recipe for a cupcake.
I have never baked. Robert, do you know the recipe to a cupcake?
Isn't it just like I'm going to get it wrong, and then someone in the comments is going to just tell me what I would have made instead, probably. But isn't it just like milk, egg, sugar, like self-raising powder, flour? You mix it together, then you like put it in the oven in like a cupcake-shaped bowl, and then you take it out, and then
because we don't know anything. Yeah. So that's fun.
Yeah, someone comment down below the recipe for a cupcake, so we can be informed.
Yeah. Someone also comment down below what you know for certain. Just prove the very existence of Talkology. That's your homework after this episode. I think that's I think we've talked enough for today. The word of the episode. Wonderful segment. We do it every episode. And the word of today's episode, a little bit simple but related to the podcast. Skepticism. And that is particularly related to the movement of philosophy in which you believe nothing because you can't truly know anything. Yeah.
Isn't that nihilism? Nihilism. I don't know how to say that.
Nihilism. Yeah.
No, that's a completely different. That's more of a. It's just a different thing.
It's different, Robert.
We don't. Yeah, we don't quite have time to go into that. Nihilism is more of saying things don't mean anything, as opposed to things don't exist.
Well, that's a meaningless distinction to make. So,
Sorry?
from a nihilist perspective, that is.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that valuable contribution. Everyone, now that episode is over, go check out Finn and Ed's Talk Time Today show. Link will be in the description. Bye, people.
That's good.
Bye.
Don't be deceived, everyone.
Ignorance is bliss.
Or is it?
Don't escape the matrix. Yeah. Bye, guys.
Okay.